Hey guys, welcome back to Earth to Us Yoga. We're going to do a little quicker paced yoga flow today, a little more vinyasa style. It'll still be pretty beginner friendly. If you've done some of my other videos, you're already going to be familiar with the terms and everything. But yeah, just going to move a little bit quicker today, get a little more movement in. Probably still going to be a shorter video, around 30 or 45 minutes. But yeah, just to move a little bit more and get our blood flowing this morning. So go ahead and grab your mat and get ready to get started. Okay, we're going to begin in a standing position. We're going to inhale, stretching those arms up towards the sky. Really lengthening the body here, slightly arching that back. Just reaching up tall. And then exhaling those arms back down. We're going to step that right foot slightly in front of that left foot. We're going to inhale as we come up onto those toes, testing that balance, stretching long once again. And then exhaling it back down, stepping that right foot back, stepping that left foot forward. We're going to inhale, coming back up onto those toes. And then exhaling it back down, stepping that left foot back in alignment with that right foot. Inhale, both hands up, reaching over to that left wrist, pulling that left wrist over to the right side. And then switching those hands, pulling that right wrist over to the left. We're going to pull that left wrist over to the right this time, but we're going to make one big circle all the way around. And then grabbing hold of that right wrist, bringing it all the way around, full circle, reach. And then lifting back up, grabbing that left hand, reaching around down for the toes. All the way back up, right wrist, fingertips reach all the way down, around to the toes and back up. And then exhale, bringing both of those hands down. And we're going to step to the top of the mat. Centering those feet underneath those hips, so we have hips, knees, and ankles. We're going to inhale those hands up. Exhale, forward fold, taking those hands down to the mat. We're going to find our first downward facing dog here. Pressing the heels into the mat. We're going to start a little bit of a pedal. So bending and straightening those legs. Massaging those hips, massaging those calves and hamstrings. Just waking up those legs. And then we're going to drop those knees under the hips, bringing the hands back underneath the shoulders. We're going to inhale, that tailbone up to the sky, that navel drops to the mat, the head lifts into cow. Exhale, hips tuck under, navel to spine, dropping the head into cat. Inhaling into cow. Exhaling into cat. One more inhale into that cow pose. Exhaling, tucking those hips into cat, navel to spine, pressing the hands firmly into the mat. Now we're going to curl those toes. We're going to flex those feet, taking those heels back to the mat, coming into downward facing dog. Bringing that right foot forward, inhale high, coming into warrior three. Hands stretch up tall, lengthening the body. Exhale, taking those hands back down, stepping back into downward facing dog, bringing that left foot forward. Inhale high, sweeping those hands up, coming into warrior three. And then exhale, taking those hands down. And we're just going to step that right foot back to meet that left foot. We're going to inhale as we slowly rise up. Exhale, dropping those shoulders back. Now we're going to take that left leg. We're going to step it back, creating a nice little gap in between those legs. We're going to inhale as we slowly rise up. We're going to exhale as we melt those hands forward, reaching down to that right leg. We have a visitor with us. Bringing those hands down to that right leg, stretching through that right hamstring, back into that right calf. Stretching into that pyramid pose. We're going to inhale as we slowly rise up. We're going to step that left foot forward. That right foot is going to step back. We're going to inhale those hands up. Exhale, forward fold over that left leg, coming into that pyramid pose. enjoying this nice, cool, breezy morning. Lengthening those muscles, stretching those muscles out, getting that good movement in first thing. Now we're going to slowly roll up, stepping that right leg back in. We're going to inhale those hands up. Exhale, forward fold, taking it back to that downward facing dog. Pedaling out those legs. Finding a little bit of movement here. Just continuing to find that movement, waking up the body. And then you can either come to that squat and hop those legs back forward, or take that walk, bringing those feet back to those hands. We're going to slowly roll up, inhaling all the way, exhale, dropping those shoulders back, and we're going to face each other once again. We're going to stack those feet under those knees under those hips. We're going to inhale those arms up, and we're going to find that circle again. So we're going to grab that left wrist, and we're going to roll it all the way down, reaching for those toes, lifting up. And then taking that right wrist over to the left, touching down to the toes, and then lifting it back up. Exhaling those hands down, and then coming into that forward fold. Now we're going to take the hands down to the mat, walking those feet much wider to the hips. That way the palms of the hands are down to the mat here. Stretching through the backs of the legs, deepening that pose. Really loosening up those muscles there. And we're going to find a little bit of movement as we bend that right leg, straightening that left, and then bend that left, straightening the right. Now we're just going to rock back and forth, bending one knee, straightening the opposite, finding a little movement here. If you want to take it deeper, you can roll up on that heel. Whatever serves your body here. But just finding a little movement, really working out those hips. Now straightening both of those legs, we're going to inhale as we slowly rise up, one vertebra at a time. We're going to walk those legs slightly in, but keeping them much wider than the hips. We're going to turn that right toe forward, keep turning that right toe outward, keeping that left toe forward. We're going to drop that right hand down, keeping those legs straight, finding that triangle pose as that left hand sweeps up towards the sky. And then inhaling, that left arm sweeps behind the back, right arm sweeps up, coming into that reverse warrior. So bending that front knee here, pushing into that back heel, finding that reverse warrior. And then that right arm drops back down to the mat. We straighten that right leg, coming back into that triangle. Left hand shoots up towards the sky. And then sweeping that left arm back, bending that right knee, coming back into reverse warrior. Bringing those hands back down by the side. We're just going to switch out that footing here. So that left foot is going to face outward. That right heel is going to come back in alignment, toes facing forward. We're going to drop that left hand down. Right arm goes up towards the ceiling this time, straightening that left leg, finding that triangle pose. Trying to keep those fingertips in alignment. And then right arm sweeps behind the back, left arm sweeps up. We bend that left knee, coming into reverse warrior. And then dropping back down into that triangle pose, pushing back into that right hip here. Finding that good strong pose here. Then sweeping that right arm back behind us. Left arm sweeps up, left knee is bent into that reverse warrior. And then dropping that left hand down by our side, releasing those hands to the hips. We're going to face those toes slightly angled outward towards the body, so more towards the corners of the mat. We're going to inhale those arms up. We're going to exhale as we bend at the elbow, squatting into that goddess pose. And then inhale as we lift up. Exhale, goddess. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, goddess, really pushing out that air. Inhale, we lift up. One more exhale, deep into that goddess pose. We're going to drop that right forearm to that right knee. That left arm's going to sweep up and over. And then left forearm to left knee, right arm sweeps up and over. And then releasing those hands back to the knees. We're going to straighten out those legs, and we're going to heel toe those legs all the way back underneath those hips. We're going to inhale those arms up, reaching to that left wrist, making that circle, dropping those fingertips down to the toes, lifting up to the left. Grabbing that right wrist, dropping those hands, reaching for the toes, and then back up to the right. We're going to inhale, stretching up tall. Exhale, come into that forward fold. Reaching down for those toes here. We're going to start a little pedal. Really stretching deep into those hamstrings, deep into those hips. Massaging those legs. Finding that movement here. Working out those sore or tight muscles. And then finding that stillness. We're going to take that left hand down to the mat, bending that left knee, reaching that right hand up towards the ceiling. Now you can always take that forearm to the knee. And then just changing that out, left hand down to the mat or forearm to knee. Bending that right leg, twisting to the opposite side. And then taking both those hands down, starting that pedal again. Just massaging those legs, finding that movement. And then inhale as we slowly rise up, stacking those vertebrae, and then we come back to the tops of our mat. Inhale, those arms sweep up. Exhale, we forward fold. We're going to take it back into that down dog. Pressing those heels into the mat, we're going to roll forward into plank. And then press back into down dog. Now bringing that right knee with us, we drop forward into plank. And back into down dog. Now bringing that left knee, we drop forward into plank. And back into down dog, bringing that right knee with us, forward into plank. Back into down dog, bringing that left knee forward into plank. And back into down dog. Now we're going to drop the knees under the hips, walk the hands back under the shoulders. Inhale, that tailbone presses up to the sky. That navel drops down to the mat, we're coming into cow. Exhale, hips tuck under navel to spine, dropping the head into cat. Inhaling into cow. Really pushing through all four corners of the palm here, rolling into that cat pose. And then coming back to that neutral spine, we're going to inhale through the nose, curling those toes, finding that downward facing dog. We're going to lift that right leg, opening up into three-legged dog. Really stretching through that hip and then bringing that right shin all the way forward. Coming into that pigeon pose. Now, keeping this pigeon upright for just a moment. Stretching through the whole body here. We're going to take that deep inhale through the nose. Exhale, melting forward, dropping that chest, walking those hands out, dropping to those forearms, or you can even walk those hands out long. But just take a few breaths here in this pigeon pose, slow it down. You know what serves your body, where you need to be, how low it needs to go. Taking just a few breaths here. Just slowing down that heart rate. And then inhale, walking those hands back up. We're going to exhale, curl that left toe, find that downward facing dog. We're going to lift that left leg, opening it up into three-legged dog. And then bring that left shin forward, keeping that pigeon upright. Stretching through that whole body here, that good straight posture. We're not rocking into that left hip, we're rocking over into that right hip, but we're keeping that posture centered. We're going to take that deep inhale, and then exhale, lowering that chest down, walking those hands out. Resting that head on the mat, resting those forearms on the mat. Whatever serves your body here. Just coming into that stretch. Taking a few breaths, releasing any tightness that may be built up in those legs. And then we're going to inhale, walking those hands back up. Exhale, curl that right toe, pressing into that downward facing dog. Bringing that right leg forward in between those hands. Inhale, rise up. coming into warrior one. Exhale, hands back down to the foot, stepping back into downward facing dog, bringing that left foot forward. Inhale, rise up, warrior one. Exhale, hands come back down to the mat, stepping that left foot back. Now you can take that pedal, walking those feet forward, or take that hop, bringing those feet all the way up to the hands. We're going to straighten those legs. We're going to slowly roll up, stacking those vertebrae one on top of the other. Coming back into that mountain pose. Inhale, sweeping those arms up. Exhale, forward fold. We're going to step that right leg back, then that left leg back into downward facing dog. Rolling forward into plank. Chaturanga into cobra or up dog. Whatever serves your body here. And then exhale, curl those toes, downward facing dog. And then bring those feet back up to the hands, however they find their way there. Inhale, slowly rise up, stacking those vertebrae, one on top of the other. Inhale, those arms sweep up. Exhale, forward fold. Either stepping or hopping back into downward facing dog. Roll forward into plank. Chaturanga, up dog or cobra. Curl those toes, downward facing dog. And then finding that hop or that step, we inhale, we slowly rise up all the way, stacking those vertebrae. We inhale, sweeping those hands up. We exhale, forward fold, taking the hands down to the mat. Now you can find that hop, you can find that step, coming back into downward facing dog. Rolling forward, chaturanga, into cobra or up dog. And then we're going to press back, opening those knees wide, finding that child's pose here. So dropping the head to the mat. We're just going to take a few breaths here. We're going to rest in this child's pose for just a moment, slowing it down. Now just resting in this child's pose, we're going to walk those hands over to that right side, really opening through that left rib here. Just pulling that left shoulder away from that left hip. And then walking those hands all the way over to that right, or to that left side now, opening up through those right ribs. You always feel like you know your right from your left until you try to teach a class. We're going to bring those hands back forward, drawing those biceps to the ears, walking those fingertips out long, one good stretch. And then taking that inhale, coming back up onto those hands and knees. We're going to curl those toes. We're going to flex those feet, finding that downward facing dog. And then walk those feet all the way up to those hands. We're going to inhale as we slowly rise up, straightening that spine, stacking those vertebrae. We're going to step that right foot back. Coming back into that pyramid pose, we're going to inhale those hands up. Exhale, forward fold over that left leg, stretching into that left hip, into that left hamstring. Concentrating all that stretch into that left leg here. And then stepping that right foot forward, we're going to step that left foot back. We're going to slowly roll over that right leg, stretching deep into that right hamstring and that right hip. Just moving that stretch over to that right leg. And then drawing that left foot back in, we're going to inhale as we slowly rise up, coming back to the tops of our mats. Inhale those arms up. Exhale, forward fold. We're going to step or hop back into downward facing dog. Really pedaling those feet here for just a moment. We're going to find some movement. Rocking those hips, stretching those legs. And then bring that right foot forward to meet those hands. We're going to inhale, warrior one. Exhale, forward fold. Stretching that leg back to meet that left leg, downward facing dog. Left foot forward. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, forward fold.
Watch the TV.
Yeah. Stepping that left foot back to meet that downward facing dog. stretching through the whole body here. Then we're going to either take that hop or take that step, bringing those feet all the way back up to the hands. We're going to inhale as we slowly rise up, one vertebrae on top of the other, coming into that straight spine. Inhale, arms sweep up. Exhale, forward fold, taking that step or that hop back into downward facing dog, dropping it forward into plank chaturanga, up dog or cobra. Taking things a little bit slower this time. All the way back into that child's pose now. Dropping that head to the mat. Moving just a little bit slower. We're going to drag that nose on the inhale, rolling all the way up into cobra. And then exhale, press back into child's pose. Inhale, drag the nose, rolling up into cobra. Exhale, press back into child's pose. Now coming up onto those hands and those knees, we're going to go ahead and roll over into that seated position. So finding that straight spine here, crossing those legs, lifting up those glute muscles. We're just going to loosen everything back up before we get into that Shavasana time. Any soreness or tightness in those muscles, just working them out. We're going to find a few neck rolls here. Loosening up that neck. Finding those rolls, just whatever feels good for you, whatever serves your body. And then making sure we have that good neutral spine here. We're going to take that left hand behind the tailbone, the left hand over to the right knee, the right hand behind the tailbone, finding that twist, looking over that right shoulder. And then right hand to left knee, left hand behind the tailbone, finding that twist. Coming back center, we're going to take right hand down to the mat, left arm sweeps up and over. Left hand down to the mat, right arm sweeps up and over. Right hand comes back down to the mat. We're going to find half lotus here. Now we're going to be very careful with our knees during this stretch. We're going to take that right leg, placing it on the mat as if we were coming into pigeon pose, and we're going to stack that left leg over that right leg here. Now if this starts to bother those knees, you just open up those legs, or you can even come back into that crisscross position. But stacking those legs one on top of the other, we're going to inhale those hands up. We're going to exhale as we forward fold, and we're going to walk those hands out in front of us, going as deep as our body will allow us. We're not going to force this pose. We're just going to let our bodies guide us. Stretching through those outer seats here, stretching through those hamstrings, working up on into those hips. Just being very relaxed here. We're not going to hold any tension or any tightness in those muscles. We're going to be very gentle with this pose. Now we're going to walk those hands over to the right. So you really want that left toe to center up into that chest here. You're going to feel that left outer seat stretch just a little bit deeper. Still being very mindful of those knees. Now walking those hands back to the center and back all the way upright. We're just going to swap out those legs, so that left leg is going to come down, that right leg is going to come on top of that left leg. We're going to walk those hands out long, feeling that right seat and that right hip begin to activate here. Allowing those exhales to release those muscles. We don't want to hold any tension or any tightness in those muscles. When we hold our breath, we hold that pressure there. So really on those exhales, releasing those muscles. And we're going to walk those hands over to that left, centering that chest up over that right toe. Noticing that seat and that hip fire up just a little bit more. Taking those deep breaths. And then walking those hands back forward. We're going to release those legs, walking those hands back up and bring those legs into butterfly. So now stretching those inner thighs, really leading with that navel. You can take the elbows to the knees if you want to put a little pressure on those knees, but still being very gentle. But leading with that navel, stretching through those inner thighs, reaching down for those toes. Stretching deep into that butterfly. Like I said, never holding our breath. Even when we hold these poses, we never hold our breath. Using that breath to release those muscles. Now releasing those legs, rolling it back up. We're going to go ahead and melt onto our backs now. So coming into that reclining position, rolling it all the way down, drawing the knees tightly into the chest. Curling into that tiny little ball here. We're going to take those hands over to that left knee. We're going to flex that right foot. We're going to press that right heel up towards the ceiling, trying to leave that footprint on the sky or the ceiling, wherever you're practicing today. And then taking that right hand over to that right thigh, we're just going to guide that leg as it falls open to the right side, stretching through that inner thigh. You may even can reach down for those toes here, or just keeping that hand at the thigh. That hand's just going to guide us, keep us from opening too far, keeping us slow and controlled. And then bringing that right knee back in, we're going to flex that left foot, extending it up towards the sky, leaving that footprint. Those hands have moved over to that right knee, drawing that right knee in. And then taking that left hand over to that leg, dropping that leg, opening to the side. You can reach down for that toe if that serves your body. And then drawing that left knee back in, tugging those knees tightly into the chest and releasing the soles of the feet down to the mat. Now, we're going to extend that left leg long. We're going to let it rest on the mat, taking that left hand over to that right knee. We're going to release that right hand down to the side and pull that right knee across the body, very gently rolling from that navel down, keeping the shoulders planted on the mat, coming into that little twist. Releasing that outer seat and lower back. And then rolling it back forward. We're going to extend that right leg out long, drawing that left leg in, right hand to left knee. Left hand touches the mat. We're just going to gently pull that left leg over. We're keeping those shoulders firmly planted on the mat. Finding that little twist. And then releasing that left leg back. We're going to reach that left hand to that left foot, that right hand to that right foot. We're going to find that happy baby, flexing those feet, drawing those knees down to the mat. Toes come down to the mat as close as they can. So imagine pulling those legs up towards your head, then down. Maybe you find a little bit of a rock here, a sway as you rock from side to side. As we just start to work down to that Shavasana time, down to that time of rest. Finding that gentle movement. And then releasing those legs, we're going to bring the soles of the feet together. We're going to find that reclining butterfly. You can take those hands behind the knees if that serves you. But just letting those legs fall open for just a few more minutes as we slow it down. We start to bring our awareness to that breath, Just moving away from the body for just a moment. Just taking that little break here in the stillness. Just enjoying the sounds of nature. Embracing that inhale and that exhale. Just allowing your body to relax for just a moment. And then taking that deep inhale through the nose, breathing in all the air. On the exhale, extending those legs out long, and we come into that Shavasana time. Take a few moments here just to wiggle around, get comfortable, whatever serves your body, whatever feels good for you, just finding that comfortable place to rest. We're just going to focus on that breath at first, breathing deeply through the nose. Just allowing that breath to wash over you. Feeling and noticing the rise and fall of your chest and your abdomen with every inhale and every exhale you take, allowing it to just melt you into that mat. Bringing you into that time of rest, that time of restoration, that time of relaxation. Whatever this time means for you, it is individual and it is purposeful. We don't take that stillness lightly. We spend so much of our day at a fast pace. We never allow our bodies to rest and just our brains to be turned off for a moment. We just embrace that breath. If our minds ever begin to wander away from this place, if the mind begins to turn back to that busyness of the day, we just bring it back, focusing on that breath, noticing that inhale and that exhale, and just allowing ourselves to be quieted down. We just come deeper into this moment. Embracing our life as it is right now and today. Not focusing on what could have been or what should have been or any of the what ifs. But just bringing our focus and awareness into our life right here and right now. Embracing this moment, embracing this time, and just simply embracing yourself as you are right here and right now. Whatever stage of life you are in. Embracing the stillness or even embracing the chaos that may be around you. The uncertainty that may be around you. Just embrace it for just a moment. Recognize it for what it is. Maybe some emotions arise within you. Just embrace them. Don't push them away. We're bringing that awareness there. We're not putting that band-aid over those emotions, over those feelings. We're embracing them, allowing them to be. Bringing them to the surface, allowing them to get that fresh air so that they may heal. Sometimes when we put that band-aid over that wound, we allow that infection to grow. As strange of a comparison as that may be, our emotions are the same way. We need to allow them to come to the surface, to get that air. Embracing them so that they may be healed. We just embrace that breath. Allowing that breath to wash over us like waves to the shore or like the breeze through the branches of a tree. just feel that wave or that breeze begin to wash over our bodies, just embracing this moment, embracing whatever emotions come up. And we deal with those emotions here. We don't push them away or push them aside. But we change that mindset here. We change that mentality here on this mat today. We choose to embrace peace and joy as we walk through the remainder of this day. We choose to embrace love and kindness, allowing our words to speak love and kindness, speaking joy in our lives. We show ourselves grace and kindness, loving on ourselves and loving on all the people that we come in contact today, even if it's just your close family, your children, your husband. Speaking and embracing that love, those new emotions, turning away that stress, turning away that anxiety. It has no place here. We speak against it. And we speak that love and that light over ourselves today. We claim that joy, we claim that peace, that understanding, that clarity, that clear thinking. And we speak that today will be a good day. Today will be a good day. We start to wiggle those toes, we wiggle those fingertips. And then we start to roll it back up very slowly, taking our time. If you wish to stay in this Shavasana time, in this time of prayer or reflection, absolutely feel free to do so. But we're going to take our time rolling up, closing this class. If you're staying in this time, I'm just going to pray over you ladies today as we get ready for the day ahead or the night ahead, whatever time of day it is for you. We're going to place that right hand on the heart, the left hand on the abdomen. We're going to take that deep inhale through the nose and that long exhale through the mouth. Inhaling now. And then exhaling. Inhaling through the nose. Exhaling through the mouth. We embrace ourselves as we are right now. We embrace this day. And we speak to this day that you will be good. You will be full of joy, full of light, and full of love. We claim that this morning. We take those hands down by our sides. We inhale them up, bringing those thumbs into the chest, rolling those shoulders down in a way, dropping that chin down. Ladies, I hope you have a beautiful and blessed day, whatever this day is for you. I pray that you find joy, that you find peace, that you find beauty in everything, that you embrace this day, you embrace this time, embrace everyone around you. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me on your mats today. I pray that you find love, that you feel loved, that you speak love. Have a beautiful and blessed day. Namaste.